NERDSoul.
Oh yeah, lay ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerds. So like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Let's go, man. Look, it's been a minute. It has been a long time since you've seen this screen. Well, maybe I guess maybe thumbnail on the video for the screen, but we up in here with Doppio Dope, and I'm not by myself. Oh yes, sir. The gentleman that I'm bringing before you is known to some as the universe's savior. He's known to some as the man who will save folks out of a burning building. This person will give you the shirt off of his back and then knit himself a brand new one from scratch. That's right. I'm talking about the one and only Clement Bryant. What's up?
See, no matter how long it's been, you continue to lie to the people.
Oh man.
And right now, lying is not good considering what's happening on our economy. But that is a whole other thing.
Yeah, you can't be lying in these streets.
What's good?
Man, I'm chilling. I'm glad we back. We talking about some stuff. We got three I guess pretty interesting topics. You know, Marvel's been doing their thing this week. Who do you want to start with? To me, I'm cool with either one. I mean, we can start with, you know, some casting news. We can start with, you know, Mr. Wade, if you will. It's all up to you. Who you want to start with?
I think we start with the most recent joint, the X-Men trailer.
Bro, the X-Men trailer.
Or X-Men 97, so we should be specific. But bro, like, I gotta say, before we get into any of this Marvel stuff, I love how people have been like, the MCU is dead. Peace out, MCU. They've lost their edge. And literally,
well, people like to pile on.
I know, and it's like we're seeing that with like Avatar: The Last Airbender before it even drops next week. It's a whole other thing. Maybe we should touch on later, but like, it's amazing how Marvel literally comes up with not one, not two, but drops 3 separate beats in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was like, y'all must have forgot.
It's like, wait, don't call it a comeback. We've been working on this for years. It's like,
yeah, and
it's like that.
I honestly don't think last year was a bad year. I think people had a bad taste in their mouth from Phase 4, and they were just angry through all of 2023. Because honestly, Guardians 3, I was into it. Ant-Man 3 is not my favorite, but I did think it was a better moving into a right direction.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It felt like a transition period where it's like, you know what? Okay, I can deal with this. I don't like everything about this movie, but I can deal with this movie. Then Guardians 3 I liked, and I liked the Marvels as well. Now, of course, we also had StreetGeek Secret Invasion, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, I would say, you know, as far as last year, I don't think last year was full trash like people were trying to call it.
Nah, I don't think it was full trash. I really think that the way that the reputation behind the Secret Invasion comic book and how the seeds that they were planning leading up to Secret Invasion, everybody was very hyped about it. And when you got into those full first couple episodes, outside of the whole AI issue in the credits, they were good. And even I thought, seeing some of the episodes as like, you know, press member, I was like, okay, this is straight. This is exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And then after that the third episode, it kind of went south. So I really think
we were all thinking like, okay, episode 1, okay, all right, let's see where it's going. Then we were like, hold up, there's only 6 episodes. Like, aren't y'all gonna have to like rush along? Like, y'all ain't. We're gonna need more time.
And I think what's going on with the whole Disney Plus stuff is, one, you had. Well, I got to be careful about what I say because, you know, I ain't trying to get Kevin Feige shooting at me.
Yeah, you know, don't worry. We got our security up. You ain't got to worry about that. NERDSoul don't let nobody get. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody think about him. No.
But I say, in my personal opinion, I think what happened is, you saw what happened with the Netflix Marvel shows where they were 10 to 13 episodes, and they went on for too long, so they're trying to fill up space with filler material. And then when you get to the finale of those seasons, they underwhelm. Well, whereas Disney Plus is doing the opposite, they're going too short and they still underwhelm. So it's like
And
they
honestly, with the
go ahead.
Netflix shows, I would definitely say I would prefer their underwhelming to the Disney underwhelming.
Right. And I hear that. And like, look, Disney Plus has had some fire project. WandaVision was fire. Falcon and
Oh, the Falcon and
what
Winter
else?
Soldier.
I like Falcon and Winter Soldier. I dug Falcon and Winter Soldier. Loki season 1 and season 2, straight fire.
Yeah, so they don't have, they're not straight trash.
They're not straight trash. And I think like instead of weighing the MCU as a whole, I think you have to take it project by project. I think because like, okay, the MCU is dead. Then you get something like Guardians 3, and Guardians 3 is completely a testament to what the creativity and what the writing can do, especially given how long it took to get that movie from, since Guardians 2 was released to when it came out. And so it was good. Black Panther 2 was good. So I really think it's just like you have to take it project to project rather than weighing it as a whole. Because
someone did say that, when you go to the comic book store, or like back when you used to go to the comic book store, you didn't buy every single Marvel comic book.
Exactly.
You know so it's similar. The only thing is, Marvel comic books do not cost, $400 million, $200 million to create, which is something that I've said this across the industry. Y'all need to bring y'all budgets down.
And that's another part of it.
Y'all brought y'all budgets down. Y'all wouldn't be having these conversations about like, the industry's going under and this, that, and the third. Like, y'all need to bring them budgets down.
And I mean, like, and that is a big part of it. And people forget when you get these big names in a Disney Plus series or a Disney movie or a Marvel movie, those names cost money. They cost, and it's not $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. Sometimes it's literally $10, $15 million, which is, depending on who that talent is. That's why, when you get someone who's undiscovered, they're getting 300, 400, maybe 500,000 tops, where the big actors are getting more than that. Downey alone, you've heard how much he made off of Endgame alone.
And I think didn't he also have a back end deal as well?
Exactly.
Like where he got some kind of like kickback for like once it passed like $1 billion or something like that.
Exactly. And then you're not even talking about the directors who might even be just the directors in name, or they screenwrite, or they're doing all three, where they're director, screenwriter, and producer. So we got to think I think when you hear about, corporations like, oh, they have these inflated budgets. No, I'm not defending them either. I'm just saying, as someone who works on the back end of it, who works behind the scenes of it, you start to hear this stuff happen a lot. And so I think, one, there needs to be a better connection of, informing people like what's really happening behind the scenes, because also a lot of these movies have not 100, 200, they have thousands of people working on these movies, from visual effects to catering to gaffers to sound designers to ADR to grab everything. It's a lot of money. Now, granted, you have movies like, I'm trying to think of the movie that I saw recently that was like only 115 million in the budget, and the way that movie looked, you couldn't convince me that they didn't spend $250 million on it before I saw how much they spent.
Wow.
Right? And we're even talking like something like Godzilla -1. And granted, I haven't seen it, but I've heard how much money they spent on that, and the effects are as good as Marvel. Something like District 9. Now, District 9 is an old movie. District 9
at the time, it looked amazing.
It looked amazing. And then you think about movies like The Creator, that you're like, wait, they spent how much on that movie?
Yeah,
and you see something like the
Creator's fire. So like basically what y'all need to go in and hire me or like my mom or something like that, people that know how to go to the clearance rack. All right, because y'all be see what the thing is, y'all be wanting to go get all this stuff with y'all movies. Y'all be wanting to go to the top name brand store. Y'all be wanting to go into like Barney's or something. Nah, you got to go to Burlington. All right, go into the clearance. All right, y'all need to go to Value City. Go in the clearance section. That's how you save y'all money. All right, y'all always buying from the top. Sometimes you gotta go and find you something on clearance. Y'all need to go to Ross. All
I'll
right.
say this one thing, and then we'll get back to X-Men. There's also, you have to pay the unions too. That
Oh,
was the
true
whole
that.
big thing with this strike. So it's like, it ain't just production. Brad, production budget has a lot of money that you have to do it, but at the same time, I feel like there is ways to cut back on the budget. But you look, X-Men '97, dude. I know we've only seen the trailer, but it looks fire. That part where you start off with music and you start to see how they're kind of weaving the story and what they're kind of telling, and that moment, you know what moment I'm going to get into, where Gambit charged Wolverine's claws.
Yeah. And see, I'm glad you're here because Coop and Dub from Blurtish, they love the trailer. Me, I'm a little on the fence about the trailer, but I'm glad you're here because I'm like, I want to be excited for this trailer, but I'm not full excited. I don't hate it, but I'm not full over the moon for it. But
and I get that. It's like when you look at the X-Men animated series, you're going to have your diehards that nothing comes close to the original, right?
mm-hmm.
And then you start to look, like I did some research last night about like who's voicing Cyclops. You couldn't tell me that the guy that voicing Cyclops in X-Men '97 is not the original guy, Norm Spencer, from the original series. You couldn't have told me that until I looked at it. I was like, wait, what?
So
that level of detail to it, you know?
And speaking of the detail, it is great seeing because I'm not going, I don't like the trash stuff, y'all. Like, and it's not that I don't like this. I will say, for the most part, I like what I see from the character design standpoint. It looks like it fits right in line with the original series, which I still watch.
Right.
But some of the character designs, they do the biggest one is Magneto. I do not like his character design. When they released what they looked like, I was like, I don't like this. I was like, I still don't like this. So that's a big thing that kind of like held me back. The line from Wolverine sounded kind of out of place. It just sounded weird. But I mean, maybe this, they were just like, hey, we got to get the trailer out. But besides that, the way it looks, that there's a shot where there's a huge statue of Professor X and Magneto together. I love that shot. Like, it just shows that, okay, we're kind of like following, and in following this, there are people that are, of course, still hating the mutants. And there's also a whole nother side that apparently is revering these mutants. Like you have, there's a shot, I guess it's like a large citadel or temple or something, but you have a statue of Magneto and Xavier, and it looks incredible. And then also just the shine of the HD-ness of it all, is something that I love. But those two big points are what kind of held me back. But seeing Gambit on Wolverine's back, charging his claws, like, okay, like they say, like a hot knife through butter. Like, what is he about to slice?
Right.
Like,
and you got to think like Wolverine's claws are made of adamantium. We all know that. They are pretty much one of the strongest metals in the Marvel universe. Mm-hmm. What are alone it cuts like hot, like a hot knife through butter. But then you charge it. What is going to happen when he charges something, his claws, and he cuts through it? Like, the possibilities of what they're playing with, just by what they're showing in the trailer alone, it's got to make any X-Men fan excited for, what they're about to do. And the fact that it's coming out next month.
Yeah,
we don't have to wait 6 months.
It was going to come out. It's coming out way earlier than I thought it was going to come out.
Yeah, and
because I'm thinking when I'm watching the trailer, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, fall, like September or something. They were like, it's coming out tomorrow. I was like, excuse me, what?
Yeah, right.
I was like, oh, hold up, wait a second.
And I think you can start to tell now that Iger's back in charge how much Marvel's pulling back and how much they're releasing. Now, granted, yeah, we got 3 press beats in 1 week. But that is for a movie that comes out in July. They're talking about the X-Men that comes out in March. And then they're talking about Fantastic Four that comes out next year.
Yeah, next year.
So I think they're doing the right thing because I think between late Phase 4 and early Phase 5, there was too much Marvel in the marketplace. There was too much.
This is something that I slightly disagree on. I don't think it was too much. I don't think it was good enough. There's people out there that will eat pizza every single day, and they'll never say, "Oh, pizza is trending downward." Oh, pizza is getting overexposed. No, because it's good. If it's good, people are gonna be cool. There's people that eat ice cream every day. There's people that eat sub sandwiches every day, some kind of Philly cheesesteak or something every day. You don't never see them. Oh, this is overrated. No, because it's good. If it's good, people will still watch that stuff. I think that Marvel has had some quality issues, and not to the point where I think people should be like, it's over. But yes, to the point where people should be like, hey man, maybe y'all need to circle up in the locker room and figure out y'all game plan.
See,
like,
and
I've said maybe y'all need to shut down for like a year or two, figure out what y'all want to do, and then come back.
See, and I think it's a little bit of both because I think for people like us, it's not too much. But for people who are not even casual fans of Marvel or whatever it is, DC, if they are just like, hey, I want to just see a movie.
Yeah, especially if you're telling them that they kind of have to know everything.
Right. And that's
okay, good point.
Like the Marvels, where it's like, all right, in the films of Captain Marvel, and you're gonna know maybe a little bit of Spectrum, right? You're only gonna know a little bit. But for people who only follow the movies, they're not gonna know who Kamala Khan is. All they're gonna know is there's this new girl who has light-based powers, and she's suddenly with Captain Marvel and the Spectrum, and it's like, wait, where did she come from? So with all of that storytelling getting released in between late Phase 4 and early Phase 5, there's a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, especially if you're asking people that they kind of have to see everything or know everything. Also, I think the Marvels probably should have been called Captain Marvel 2. Captain Marvel 2, the Marvels. Because, of course, Captain Marvel, whether you like it or not, it was successful financially and generally critics liked it. So they should have kept the name Captain Marvel 2. I don't mind the Marvels. I get what it means. But like you said, the average people that aren't even casual fans, they might just be like, oh yeah, Captain Marvel. I had a good time at the theater watching that. That was fun. We went into some 90s stuff and a couple shenanigans, and we had some changey people in there,
Right. So I think...
And they didn't bring out Blue Marvel, which I thought was a missed opportunity. But, I'm not against the X-Men scene at the end as much as other people are.
Right. So, and I thought, okay, she's in a new universe. And I feel like between that scene and then you get X-Men 97, it's like they're slowly integrating the mutants into the MCU.
Yeah.
And even when we watched, the end of Miss Marvel on Disney Plus, and you heard the theme where it's like, oh, you're a mutant. They're starting to slowly plant these seeds in there. So by the time that you get to the X-Men, you're already ready.
Yeah. And
that's the smart thing they're doing.
I've seen people say, even about this in X-Men 97, people saying like, the introduction of the X-Men should be a huge splashy thing, and not
Mhm.
like this small stuff that you see at like Miss Marvel or at the end of the Marvels. It should be a big splashy thing. And my response to that is no, trust me, it will still be big and splashy. What they're
It's still
just
going to be
doing
big and
is letting
splashy.
you know that they've always been here.
Exactly. And
But
I
trust me,
think,
when something there's some big catastrophe that befalls the planet or something like that, trust me, something's going to happen.
yeah,
I do like the fact we should have these small mentions of like, in Guardians, getting mentions of like the Shi'ar Empire or something like that. Like
that,
we should get small stuff like that to let us know, oh, they were always here. Then they just weren't dealing, or like you didn't know the issues they were dealing with. Because
right.
because since they're mutants, you don't really trip on it. Or maybe mutation is something that's been kind of shunned societally, so like you're like, I don't even care about that. I don't, so I mean, I think when
See,
they really do drop the X-Men, it'll still be a huge thing. And
it's going to be a huge
it'll
thing.
probably be a mind-blowing thing in like one of the Avengers films where it's like, oh, whoa, hold
Yeah.
up, what? I didn't even know this. Because
See,
the Marvel brand still knows how to surprise people. Like they
yeah.
did with this X-Men 97 trailer.
Well, I mean, and you kind of hit on something for me. The press strategy of what they did this week was great. They didn't wait to do Deadpool, Fantastic Four, and X-Men in like 3 separate weeks. They did it all in 1 week. They brought their heavy hitters out in literally 1 week. So you had
Yeah.
literally, what was it? Valentine's Day was what, Wednesday, right? So you had
Mhm.
Deadpool on a Sunday, you had Fantastic Four on a Wednesday, then you had literally not even 24 hours later X-Men. So they brought all their heavy hitters in 1 week to
Yeah.
remind you that the subtext of what they're saying in the releases, we haven't gone anywhere. Yeah, we may have messed up a little bit, but we are still here and we still have things for you to watch and we still have ways to entertain you and surprise you. That press strategy was a really great strategy to tell people, hey, we're still here. We ain't gone nowhere.
Yeah, like I see this in sports terms. I see this as a team that was great for 10 years building up, and then they got back-to-back championships. Then they
Mm-hmm.
had a season where they didn't make the playoffs, and now this most recent season they got into the second round of the playoffs, and they look like they're starting to get strong, but they didn't make it all the way.
And
Like,
also, let's not forget that releasing all of these the same week that Madam Web comes out.
oh God. Oh, poor Madam Web, man. Poor Madam Web.
Look, I haven't seen Madam Web. I'm
Me
not gonna say
neither.
anything bad about it because, like, personally, I don't like to trample on people's hard work because, look, whether you might just see the actors and you're gonna see what is screen, but that still represents the gaffers.
Yeah.
That self
I
represents the
feel you. I feel you.
cinematography. It still represents. No one sets out to make a bad movie or a bad TV show. Sometimes it is just what it is. But also,
Or sometimes there's some executive somewhere that's not listening to someone like me, like, yo, bruh, don't do it like this. Don't
but
do it like
also,
this. They're like,
but
no, we got it.
also, it's like that. But also, sometimes they're just doing it for, hey, these actors need a check, or hey, we need to hold on to the rights of Spider-Man. So how can we do that?
Yeah,
Sometimes it's more than just a release.
but the thing
Sometimes
is,
the
it's
business
like
strategy.
this is what you do, Sony. Sony, look, I'm gonna throw y'all another bone real quick. We'll get back to X-Men. I'm gonna throw y'all a bone. Y'all need to keep the rights to Spider-Man. I get that. So hire a Spider-Man guy. Oh, I forgot. You already have someone that's able to do that, or a team of people. Whoever the team is that is working on the Spider-Verse content knows what they're doing. Whoever is working on the Spider-Man video game content know what they're doing. Why
Yeah,
don't you give them a little bit more money and have them give you about 4 or 5 scripts for some stuff in your live action, and then you're gonna be fine. Because the best Spider-Man writers have been either on Spider-Verse or the Spider-Man video games for the last, 5, 10 years or whatever. Like, bruh, y'all, they already there.
I mean,
You got their phone numbers.
I'm not sure if you saw this, but Jake Johnson, who plays Peter B. Parker in the Spider-Verse, he said if he were asked to reprise Spider-Man in live action, he'd be like, I don't know about that. Pretty much was the subtext of what he said.
Wow.
So I got to find the quote, but that's not a good sign, right? Now, I'm just saying this as a fan and not someone who's making a criticism on a company.
Sure.
As a fan, that speaks a lot of volumes. As a publicist, that speaks a lot of volumes. As a marketing
he like, look, the animation is on point, video games are on point. I don't know what y'all live action people doing though.
So, and we saw what happened, and the team that wrote Madam Web also wrote Morbius, also did Gods of Egypt, and they haven't had a lot of hits. Now, I'm just saying what the facts
how those people
are.
Be keeping their jobs, man? Like this, y'all better be lucky that Hollywood is not the corporate world, boy. Because y'all,
I mean, there is still corporate politics in Hollywood.
I mean, yes, there. When I mean the corporate world, like working at Comcast or working at Capital One or Bank of America, like those kind of like more straightforward corporate entities. Like, if you, man, look, you can't have Gods of Egypt and Morbius and Madam Web. You gonna be in the mailroom.
I'm just stating what the facts are, not my opinion.
I know. So I'm stating the opinion. In the corporate world, you are not getting a raise on that. All right, you're not getting a raise on that.
And look, I think there's a lot that goes into it, but this is, but also kind of to your earlier point about pizza. Pizza only costs what, $10, $12 for a large pizza. Yep. You're talking about people that are spending their hard-earned money. $13, $14, $15, sometimes $20 a month for a streaming service.
Yeah.
And that's why streaming is also up and it's down, is because the quality issues are hard to keep going on project after project after project after project. And those quality issues, like if you have crappy internet, you're not going to stay with that crappy internet. You're going to look for another solution. Same concept. So, and also talking about money, when you have to go to a theater, all right, the tickets you cost for a family of 4, how much is that going to cost you? Then sometimes in LA, you got
$$5.99.
But then sometimes in LA, or where you're at, you got to pay for parking.
Yep.
Then you have to pay for snacks and pop or cola. Sorry, some people call it cola.
If you're soda. In the Midwest, what is pop in the Midwest? Soda, like somewhere else, and cola somewhere, depending on where you at.
See, and I teeter between soda and pop because I spent time in upstate New York as a kid. Was born in Maryland, so it's like I teeter between it, but I'm getting off track. But and then what else you have to pay for? There's a lot of stuff to pay for when you go see a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Gas to get to the movie. It's like there's a lot of stuff to consider with that. So all I'm saying is, when we talk about the quality issues and we talk about how much it is to see something and how general audiences may be losing their patience, you start to see why. So it's a lot to consider. But back to X-Men. I love how we talk about these things and we get off topic, we come back, we get off topic. It's funny. Look, I think, X-Men...
It all goes together.
It all goes together. But look, X-Men looks straight, and then we get to Fantastic Four. Look, I will be the first person to say they took their time with Fantastic Four because everyone... Bro, there were so... And look, I understand why. I'm not criticizing Disney's strategy with the casting and waiting to release it. I just think there were so many links that it was essentially the worst secret that they were going to do the Fantastic Four movie. We all knew they're going to do that. But how many rumors of casting we had? I think, we heard Pedro was in it. Of course, he's in it now. It's confirmed. But we heard Pedro. We heard Margot Robbie. We heard. Didn't we heard Adam Driver at one point? Like,
oh yeah,
there were so many leaks and so many rumors and so many things that, like, finally, it's just like our great national mystery has been solved, right? I love how they just came out
of this Fantastic Four that now that it's out, I'm just like, finally, thank God. Now we can move on.
Right.
Like, I'm tired of it.
Right,
like,
exactly.
I'm so tired of it maybe being somebody that now that we actually know, it's kind of like, it's not that I don't care, but I'm just like, finally, okay, good, we can move on. Now it's set in stone.
Yeah. Look, biggest, we don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. The biggest what?
No, the only thing, look, we don't know what was happening behind the scenes as much as some, armchair studio detectives, scoopers, whatever. We do not know that was going on behind the scenes. We have no idea. I'm just stating that I'm glad that we finally have the announcement, that we have a release date, and we have a director, and we know approximately where the movie's going to take place and what time frame. We know all of that.
No, I didn't know that part. I didn't know we had a good idea of where it was going to take place. I didn't know that part.
Well, you look at the poster that released. You can kind of speculate that it's going to take place early 60s, mid 60s, based off how they retooled the Fantastic Four logo. When we first saw the first logo, it was like very high tech. It was very modern. Now you look at what they actually released.
Good point.
It's a throwback. And look, I'm not stating. I'm just speculating about where it is.
I just got that vibe. I just thought they were going with that vibe for the kind of Valentine's Day thing. But you're right. If this vibe is not just for the Valentine's Day kind of aesthetic, if this is going to be the aesthetic of, you're right. This is going to be back in the late 60s,
right? And honestly,
66, 67, something like that.
And honestly, if that is what they're going for, it's a good way to separate themselves from the first two movies that were released in the Fox days with Evans, Young Gruffin, Alba, and Chickless. Like, it's a really good way to separate themselves and be like, this is a whole new thing that we are doing. It is not connected to those movies at all. This is a brand new cast, and the costumes that were in the art, they're very much 60s
definitely
like get-ups, like costumes. So look, if they cape with that, I'm really interested to see where they're going to go with it.
And I generally like all these people. Like, I know Vanessa Kirby, I know her from Mission Impossible stuff. Pedro Pascal, of course, we know him from pretty much everything, but no, the Mandalorian. But what is it? Joseph Quinn, I don't know him. I don't really know him from anything. But then,
did you see? Sorry, go ahead.
I can't remember the other guy. He was the brother in, what was the show? I can't. Ben Grimm, the guy who's playing. What is it? Eben Moss.
Backrod.
What was he in? He was kind of like the crappy brother in some show, and I can't remember what it was. But he was.
So he's in The Bear. He plays Richie I think he plays Richie in The Bear.
Oh, okay.
But then everyone seems to forget that he was in what the MCU pretty much technically. He was Micro and Punisher.
Huh.
And he was in Andor. So, like, look, I think they got a really good choice for Ben Grimm.
Yeah,
based off what I've seen in The Bear, I'm like, that is the energy that Ben Grimm gives off. And I think they made a good choice. Joseph Quinn, from what I've seen of him in Stranger Things and what I'm looking forward to seeing him in the Quiet Place prequel, I'm really excited to see what his take on Johnny is going to be.
Oh, snap. Hold up. He's from... Oh, that's what... because
Yeah,
his face was kind of familiar, but I was like, I don't know, I've never seen him in anything. Oh yeah, I forgot because he's not dressing like it's the '80s anymore. So,
right, exactly.
so yes,
You're right.
that yeah,
So
no, he came through in the last season. That's a
he did.
that's a whole other thing. Like
And like, let's be honest.
the
Let's
final season
the.
of Stranger Things is going to be crazy.
I mean, look, I'm not even ready for that yet. But like the fact that he came in to Stranger Things. Now, granted, the writing has a big thing to do with it, but also the performance is the whole other piece of it. For him to come
definitely.
into an established cast 4 seasons in and make that much of an impression that he immediately has all these fans that love him, they can't wait for him. That speaks to what his ability is as an actor.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I'm really excited to see what he's gonna do, be the Johnny, because let's be honest, outside each of the Fantastic Four is important, but Johnny, you have to be very good to nail Johnny.
Yeah, and see, that's another thing.
Johnny's
Since
difficult.
they are the first family of Marvel, not only Johnny, but what is Johnny and Ben's banter like? Because they have to they have to work.
They have to click. If they don't click as a quartet, it's bad. But if Reed and Susan don't click, and Johnny and Ben don't click, it's gonna be all wrong.
Yeah.
So the fact that they got these actors who they are excites me. Just based off a fan, not from a business perspective, just as a fan. I'm excited to see him. Look, Pedro, I'm gonna say something that might be controversial. I don't understand, look, and this is just Twitter, social media, I don't understand the Pedro and the Joseph Quinn hate. I really don't. Pedro, we saw what he got into Last of Us. We saw what he did with The Mandalorian. Even if the smaller movies that he was in, the movie with Nick Cage that he was in was great. I don't understand the hate around Pedro being Reed. Yeah, he's not what the conventional.
He's not like the sort of like the quintessential Anglo-Saxon white male kind of thing.
But then we got that,
which is kind of. I'm interested to see why they made that choice, because they did spend so long to make the choice of who Reed was going to be, and they made it seem like it was going to be so hard to choose the right people. But then they choose someone who isn't the kind of expected look for Reed. Now, honestly, I don't really super care, because I don't think, he's still kind of playing sort of like a white guy, sort of in that way, and not that I think it super matters, because I don't think there's anything about Reed that has to be white, but they're not, it's not like they're playing him like, oh, well, Reed is now from, Botswana or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're playing it like that. My biggest thing about Reed, because I think Pedro's cool. I do think Pedro is getting in a lot of stuff, and depending on the type of Reed they're playing, I don't know if he can play that kind of guy, but I am interested to see where it goes, because are they going to do the Reed Richards that is kind of like the altruistic good guy who's super smart, helps out his friends, that's at a third, or are they going to play the Reed Richards that is a little darker, like the Reed Richards that sort of becomes the maker? Like, are they going to do that Reed Richards? Which one are we going to get is, kind of what I'm interested in. Like, how are they going to play him out?
Honestly, we've seen what Pedro can do. Pedro can go from being, the straight good guy to having some darkness to him. Even what he did with Maxwell Lord and Wonder Woman 2 that I know a lot of people talk about, there was a little bit of a kind of a creepy darkness the way he played Maxwell Lord, right? Mm-hmm. So honestly, I'm not gonna judge it until I see it. But based off what Pedro has done so far, I'm not worried. But also, we saw what they went with when they went with like a straight choice with Krasinski and Multiverse of Madness, and people were still unhappy. So
Yeah,
Look,
sometimes people ain't gonna be. They're
they're
not gonna
not
be
going to be
happy on it.
happy. They're not going to be happy. Like to a point, sometimes, look, I'm not saying, I have to be very careful diplomatically with how I say this. Sometimes you don't know what you want until you get it,
Yeah,
right?
that's definitely true. And
And it's like
that's why I
sometimes
was like,
it's
I wonder how they're gonna play Reed because it could be cool to get sort of the maker, but I know that's a lot of, you know, I know that they don't want to they don't want to be like, hey, we just brought you a whole bunch of heroes. By the way, this guy's kind of dirty and he wants to remake the universe in his own vision. Like,
well,
like
we don't know. And look, I'm going to say something funny. Like, look, when I was growing up, I hated the concept of chicken livers, right? I was like, ugh, chicken liver, right? And then I tried chicken liver for the way that my mom made chicken livers. I was like, what have I been missing? The dirty
it's
rice,
like, you
that's
know
the
what,
same
this is great.
concept. Right. So it's like, and I think the biggest example of it is when people were so offended and upset that Heath Ledger was going to be the Joker. Fast
Yeah.
forward, you get Joker, you get his Joker, and you're like, dang, like what?
Yeah, it really showed like the way they wrote him and played him. It's like, yeah, this guy is crazy. Like, not just crazy, but also dangerous.
Right. I really think that it's just you have to wait till you see the finished
And I
product.
assume by now
Not
they've
the
already done
trailer.
all of their like, screen tests and everything.
Right.
So
Right.
they
So
kind of got it, I assume.
right. And so hopefully they do, because sometimes, Marvel does these deals and it's just like, all right, you're the Black Panther, you are Captain Marvel, and then you start to kind of reverse engineer it to find who's going to play well with each other. So I just say, like, look, trailer, you get fired up about the trailers, like we all do. That's great. But until you see the finished product, I'm the person that chooses to save.
Yeah, I need to see that trailer first. Once I see that trailer, then I'll have a
Right.
better idea. Like, kind of like now, I will say outside of the Marvel, outside of the Marvel space, Ghostbusters came through with 2 trailers and they shining right now. So it's like, but before that, I was like, I don't know. Even with the teaser, I was like, okay, the teaser looks good. What we gonna get? Then when they dropped those 2 other trailers 2 weeks ago, I think. Then I was like, oh, okay, we good now. Like we looking real good.
Exactly. And sometimes it takes a little bit for them to release the trailer in the way. Like, I'm trying to remember what trailer it was. The Black Panther. I love the first trailer for Wakanda Forever. I loved it. Still one of my favorite trailers ever. But when they released that second trailer, I was like, oh, okay. Now you're starting to see where they're gonna go with it. I just think, I get tired of ripping on something to the point of you see it, then you're like, oh, it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. But you've been hating it for the entire
it's like you were already kind of angry about it.
Right. So I just think it's like, let's wait to see what it looks like and let's see how it turns out, and then you make your
keep your eyes out for these post-credit scenes for Deadpool Deadpool and Wolverine, because Deadpool and Wolverine, you know what, because I don't want to switch yet. Is there anything else we have to say about Fantastic Four?
I think the only other thing I have to say about Fantastic Four is I love how they just released it on Valentine's Day. Like, usually that's like a Comic-Con or a New York Comic-Con release that it's like, okay, you're gonna release. They just were like, you know what? It's been a while. Valentine's Day. We'll just,
and it was cute.
I loved it.
Like they did.
I loved it.
Marvel did that, which I thought was cute, and then Ghostbusters also did this little. They did this little promotion thing where it's like, "Have you been ghosted?" And it was like, with Kumail Nanjiani and Patton Oswalt did like this little like short on YouTube, like call us if you've been ghosted kind of thing. So
right.
So I thought it was cute. I think it's cool to like pick little holidays and do something fun around it. Like, why not? I mean, now on one hand, I know it can be a lot of work, But like for this Valentine's Day, you get a dope artist, put the art together and just release it. Or, like maybe get someone to come in or a couple people to come in on their day rate and film something. They could do something cool for, like, I don't know, National Cats Day or something. Just do the Flurkins. I don't know, something. You could do some fun stuff, and it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be Endgame. That's another thing.
Right.
Everything doesn't have to be Endgame, y'all. Like, it doesn't. I love Endgame. You love Endgame. We all love Endgame. But every single comic book is not, every single comic book is not Infinite Crisis or Civil War or 4001 AD for all the people that love Valiant Comics or like, nice. or Infinity Gauntlet or whatever. You can have comic books that are just cool on their own, and like there's not some huge existential universal Galactus level threat or something.
And honestly, it's like you hear both ends of like where we sat in the industry. You hear both ends. I wish they would do smaller scale stuff, because then sometimes that's when the MCU is best, or whether it's a comic book story or if it's a franchise thing. I wish they would do smaller scale stories that kind of are self-contained. And then you're like, why can't it be Endgame? I think it's also, you're never going to please everyone.
Yeah.
And I feel like
and you can't get Endgame until you have, 5 to 10 years of small stories that dovetail into this.
Or just having just a self-contained story is sometimes, and I feel like I understand that franchise, that's all Hollywood is right now, is franchises, because that's the way to get people, and sometimes the studios don't want to take risk on smaller scale stuff. So I think where I'm going with this is sometimes it's just based off what the project is, and you have to let the project be what it is instead of looking forward to be how it plays into this tapestry, or what thread is this, or what web is this, or what it's
okay.
Let it be its own story and weigh it on the merits of its own film, TV show, web series, whatever it is, instead of kind of just saying one project is representative of a whole universe, because that's not what it is sometimes. You get something like Iron Man 2, and okay, the MCU is over, it's not great, and then on the back end you'll get something like Endgame, or you get something like Winter Soldier that, look, let's be honest, no one was checking for Winter Soldier in the way that people are talking about Winter Soldier now.
No. Not until that trailer drop were people even caring about Winter Soldier. That trailer drop, then people were like, hold up, oh, this might be alright. And then when the movie came out, then it was like immediate fan praise.
And then you hear people that are like, I always knew it was going to be fire. And I'm like, no, let's be honest. Same thing with Heath Ledger. Like,
I didn't.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, let it be what it's going to be, and then you make a decision. And great. And I'm not criticizing anyone. I'm just saying where my head is at, speaking from my point of view. Because, look, sometimes it's just like, man, sometimes you just want to go out. There's enough hate and drama and tragedy and misery in the world. You know what I mean? Why bring down something that's supposed to lift us up, that's supposed to entertain us, that's supposed to inspire us, to give us hope?
Well, back to the analogy of food. When you're making, a cake or something like that, it don't look like all that when it's in the bowl before you mix it. Got some eggs in there. I don't know.
Gordon Ramsay.
Some baking powder, some sugar. It looked like slop in that bowl. Then when you start mixing it, it's like, okay, now it looks a little different. Then you bake that bad boy. Then it's like, oh, all right.
And then you let him cook. Let him cook. I use let him cook. So I just think like Avatar, bro. I know we're not going to be talking about Avatar, but look, people are already bringing down Avatar, and I'm like, look, does it look like anything from what the Shyamalan movie was? No.
Nah, I think at least from looks of it, I really don't know what people are mad about, because from the looks of it, like they've casted it well, and it looks. The only reason I'm not interested is because I want to see something new. I don't want to see kind of like a replay of what
Right.
I already, saw. But I don't think it looks. I looked at it, I was like, oh snap! Like it looks good. It looks like Avatar.
Right. And
But
look,
maybe other
they're not.
people are. I don't know what
Sorry.
they're mad about really. So I don't know.
Bruh, they're not calling him Ong. That's all I have to say.
Oh, they're
They're
not.
not calling. No, they're calling him Aang. You know how the Shyamalan movie called him Ong?
Then
They're calling him Aang.
They should be happy. They should be like,
Look, and that's what I'm saying. It's just like, look, man. There's so much just negativity in the world already without you just tearing something down. Just let it be something, and then let's see what it's gonna be. Now, if it's bad, it's bad. But even then, accept what it is. Don't rip someone down. This is the worst movie ever made. Blah blah. How can it's like, nah, bro. Like, look, there's more important things to worry about.
Like, it's probably.
Let me get on my soapbox.
But
let me get off my soapbox. But
I do want to talk about a movie that's going to be. It's going to be brought to us by Marvel Jesus. That's right.
Wow. The segue
is going to be brought.
Perfect.
The savior. Actually, I've been playing around with that line because when I reviewed the trailer, I was playing around with that. I was like, you know what? Him saying Marvel Jesus could just be a joke about like, hey, I'm here to be the savior of the universe, or it could be a kind of hint that he might be sacrificing himself or sacrificing something in this movie. But the Deadpool and Wolverine, not Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine trailer dropped. How do you feel about that?
Man, look. The fact that he's I don't know how I'm gonna put this. The fact that he's saying he's Marvel Jesus in a Marvel movie and breaking the fourth wall in an MCU movie, and they're letting him do it. That's all you have to say. That's all you have to say. And look, that reload scene in that trailer, where he catches the one magazine and the other gun.
I was watching that part. I was like, show off.
It's like you get the humor of Wade Wilson, then you see what he actually does. You're like, this dude is a badass.
Like, hold up, I forgot. He's actually nice with it too. Like,
he's straight with it, and he's got the super. Like, bro, like, and the fact that you start to see as that scene plays out that there's a 20th Century Fox logo behind him.
Yeah,
man, and the fact that they're using the TVA as a plot device to bring Wade and Wolverine into the MCU and all of his friends, like, man, I'm really excited.
I think that's an awesome way to do it. Like, there was someone else. Is it Nando? I think I'll give Nando a shout out on that. I think Nando Movies did like a theory video or something like that, where he did a theory for the Deadpool 3, and basically it was the tie-in was Mojo. So like Mojo World is kind of like where he tied in the different threads of all these universes. So I was like, that could work too. But like something like that or TVA is awesome. And like, of course, us coming off the heels of a very good Loki season 2, like the TVA is an awesome thing to keep going and to keep as sort of like a staple in the MCU as like sort of like a background entity that always is like working and watching and kind of making sure no one goes too crazy kind of thing.
It's kind of like they're the time. It's like they're the, now that Shield's gone in the MCU, it's like they're like the time shield essentially, right?
Yeah, or they're the time cops. Oh, bring Jean-Claude Van Damme up in here, y'all. Come on.
You fired. You're
Yo,
fired,
man,
bro.
Time Cop was sweet. I don't care what nobody say. Time Cop was sweet. He did the splits in the kitchen, man. Come on.
I'm just messing with you, bro. But yeah, look, I really think it's a smart way to weave in the other universes into the TVA. It's like, all right, you're going to be your plot device. I really look forward to seeing how they play into it. I can't say enough things about Deadpool. I'm just excited that it's finally here after all of the rumors and the plots and the set leaks.
Yeah,
I'm
and
excited just
I
to
don't even think the
see.
set leaks are set leaks. I think that's like Ryan Reynolds having this stuff done. Now, I will say one thing they did. I like the fact that since we know so much about Wolverine, we like basically didn't even see him in this trailer.
Right.
And then they dropped the name of it, Deadpool and Wolverine, which is a whole different thing. Because it's like, okay, Deadpool 3, all right, it's going to be about Deadpool. Then it's like, hold up, Deadpool and Wolverine, this is a whole different concept. So we
Mhm.
got not only a trailer, but we got a huge surprise in this trailer that this is going to be a movie that is a team up. So it's not going to be a situation where it's Deadpool 3 and like Wolverine's there for a second, they do some stuff together. No, this is Deadpool and this is Tango and Cash, man. Come on, they're both going to be in it. It's going,
It's essentially a buddy cop movie, and it's like we
yeah,
already know Wolverine is this. Wolverine can wisecrack, but he's going to be the straight man. That's what Wolverine's going to be. And then you get someone like Wade Wilson slash Deadpool, who is off the wall, fourth wall breaking, crazy AF.
yeah.
That pairing, dude, is going to be very good. And the
And the
fact
funny
that
thing is, they're not going to have, there's not going to be a adult in the room because both of them have very similar temperaments about dealing with bad guys. So they're not going to
exactly
have like a Professor X to be like, "Calm down, everyone." No, they're going to be like, "Kill him, yeah, kill him." It's
right.
not going to be. It's not going to be a
But
situation where it's like someone's there
look,
to be like, "Hey guys, maybe we shouldn't kill him." It's like, no, you got two guys that have no problem with killing someone.
and the good thing about okay, this is gonna sound weird the way I say it. The good thing about X-Men Origins is that Hugh and Ryan are already familiar with each other. That they know
Yeah,
that they've already worked together, that they know pretty much that. I know that the movie's not going to be touching on that, and I hope it doesn't. But at the same time, the fact that those two actors know each other and they've, played in a movie and they've, been on set together, I really think that shows. And the fact that Hugh came back to work with Ryan, it excites me about what the possibilities of the movies are going to be.
yeah, and also this. I mean, this movie has a lot riding on it when you think about all of the sort of naysayers. This movie has a lot riding on it, like, from a post-credit standpoint, because I'm sure people are already wondering what the post-credits are going to be like that. I mean, I assume we're going to get something that has to do with the Fantastic Four. I assume we're going to get something that has to do with the X-Men. But I mean, we still have a whole bunch of quasi young Avengers that haven't been really handled at all, except for the sort of post-credit scene with Miss Marvel, which with the Marvels, which I think should have been handled differently, but I'm not against it. But this movie has a lot riding on it, but I think it's going to be okay. I really do. Because Deadpool is a property that he's allowed to be like weird and wild and crazy
and violent.
Yeah. So I think they're going to be fine.
And here's the thing: it's like, as a fan, I'm not trying to attach all of that to it. As someone who works in entertainment, I'm sorry I have to keep on repeating that. I'm going to try to get away from that in the future. But someone who's behind the scenes, bro, I'm like, it does have a lot riding on it because there's been so much negativity about what the MCU has been over the last few years that if this movie doesn't break in the way that it needs to break, what does that mean for Fantastic Four? What does that mean for Secret Wars, Kang Dynasty, if that even is still what it's called?
Because what's the budget of Deadpool Wolverine? Do we know yet? Well,
I don't know.
Like, let's see what the budget is real quick. But depending on the budget, I mean, like it might have a large hurdle to cross, but it comes out in the summer. way, in the middle of the time where people, are able to go out and have fun, and it's going to be warm, and no one's going to be locked in some snowstorm and nothing like that. So they should be fine. It,
Look, man,
should be okay. So, well, we'll see. But
I mean, look,
I think this is going to be a movie that I think is going to do extremely well.
Look, I'm gonna look at the release schedule right now between what it is between May and July. So
because we got, as far as big movies, we got
The Fall Guy. The Fall Guy, which looks great, by the way.
Yeah,
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Furiosa.
Oh, true that. I thought. Wait, hold up. Is Furiosa a movie or a series? I thought it was a series.
It's a movie.
It's a movie. Oh, my bad. Sorry, y'all. I thought it was a series.
Let's see what is. You got the John Wick spinoff, Ballerina. Inside Out 2. Bad Boys 4 is supposedly released in June. Quiet Place.
Which
Despicable Me 4.
Crazy concept.
Beverly Hills Cop. Axel F. Twisters. So after Twisters is Deadpool and Wolverine. So it's not exactly a stacked summer. There's gonna be some hits.
Yeah, it might be some minor hits like Ballerina, which is a John Wick spinoff, depending on how dope that is, and depending on how much it costs too. That could end up being one, because remember the first John Wick was kind of like, oh, Keanu's in this movie, he's shooting people, okay. Mm-hmm. And nobody was really tripping on it until it dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Ballerina will be kind of like the same way, where people aren't really thinking about it. It's like, oh, Ballerina, okay, I get it, like it's spinoff, whatever. And then when it drops, it'll be like real flames.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, look, and I really hope that there's a lot of hits. I'm not saying like, from what we know, that there's not going to be like how we're attaching all this stuff to Fantastic Four and Quiet Place 2, prequel, all this kind of stuff. I hope there's a lot of hits. I'm just saying, when Deadpool Wolverine drops, the box office alone is going to have a seismic effect.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Because last year, Mission Impossible didn't do what people thought it was going to do, and I love that movie.
I know.
That's Tom Cruise, one of the movie stars of movie stars.
But let's be honest. I have to be again very diplomatic when I say the way that where Mission Impossible was released is why it didn't perform the way it did. It should have. I mean, the release window that it had was the reason why it didn't perform the way that it went. Okay. I truly believe that. Because I love Mission Impossible. I thought it was straight.
Yeah, that movie was crazy.
And spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen Mission Impossible, but dude, that train scene, man,
that train scene is killer.
Look, we say a lot of things about Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise knows how to entertain.
Yes.
Okay, man, that train scene and the way that they shot him going off the cliff on that motorcycle, like, bro. And even the Italy scenes where they're driving around that small little buggy, man.
That little baby car, man. They had to give him that thing.
And the way that and how humorous that scene was, that whole sequence was. I really think that the way that where Mission Impossible was released in that window was why it didn't perform.
Okay.
Like, let me see. Let's go back. Let's time travel a little bit, right?
Just a tad.
Let's a tad. So you had Mission Impossible released on July 12th, right? So this was after we're going into June. So we're June. We have Transformers Rise of the Beast. You have Little Mermaid. So it's like a lot of people are not saving money on this. And you had The Flash, you had Elemental. What else do we have? Indiana Jones. We had and literally, what is this? July 12th to July 21st. What happens on July 21st? Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah. So people are like, let me go in and save my money up for Barbie. You know what I'm saying? I'll check Mission Impossible out when it comes on Netflix or something.
Exactly. And let's not forget, we had Fast X come out in May.
True.
We had all these movies come out, and so it's like, and then Guardians were released on top of it. So like, even though that should be enough time, you got to think about people spending their hard-earned money. It goes back to what I was saying.
And
earlier.
The people that wait for the second week and stuff like that.
Exactly. Because some people just don't want to go when everyone's at the theater. No, I love love that kind of
shouts out to my working class people. I'm gonna just say this real quick. Working class people. I wonder if the dollar theaters and the second run theaters get counted. Like, yo, shouts out to the dollar theater, man. They held us down in the summer when we was kids. Shout out. Yo, the dollar theater. I mean, it was a broke down theater, but I mean, you got to see a movie. The popcorn was the most secondhand, stalest popcorn, but I mean, hey, it was $1.
Look, I saw Casino Royale when I was in college at a dollar theater for the first time, and it was some of the best time that I ever had. I still remember it.
Yo, look, dollar theaters be holding it down, man.
But look, like Barbie, like we all know how much Barbie and Oppenheimer ruled the box office last year. It was a whole phenomenon. So the fact of the matter is that it's almost a little after 2 weeks later, and everyone knows that Barbie and Oppenheimer are coming out in a couple weeks before Mission Impossible comes out. You're gonna wait. You're gonna hold your money on that. That release window, I think if Mission Impossible had nothing releasing around it, it probably would have done better.
Okay.
Release windows are all about
because like this one, as far as Deadpool and Wolverine, there's nothing.
Exactly.
At least there's nothing really big around it. Like everybody that's super big is kind of on their own, sort of. Like Ghostbusters, which is probably going to be, it's not going to be like Avengers big, but it'll be bigger. That's on its own. Godzilla's kind of on its own, and Deadpool's kind of on its own.
I will say, the threats to just looking at the calendar, Despicable Me 4 early in the month, and you have Twisters on the 19th.
Despicable Me gonna get that family money.
4 quadrant movies, man.
Oh yeah, and you got Kung Fu Panda 4 coming out
next month
in April.
Yeah, March.
So yeah, there's a couple, but those big movies are kind of on their own, sort of.
Yeah, and like I'm looking at Long Legs. I don't know what that is. Project Artemis. This is just I'm looking at just like what Wiki has as far as just the release schedule. Like Despicable Me 4 and Twisters, I think are a threat to Deadpool because families go see movies. They love the animated movies. That's why Despicable Me is what it is.
Yeah. And the Minions are a cash cow. I'm not going to front like that.
It's facts, exactly.
And they are funny. Even though at first I was like, I hate these little yellow things, but
that's how everyone
they are funny. They are funny. It's kind of like, it's kind of like that Three Stooges kind of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I will give it to them. The Minions, I got a soft spot for them. They alright.
Yeah. So we'll see. Like, look, I think Deadpool Wolverine is going to probably be the biggest thing in July, but just from a financial regular person, not in the industry, not a fan of the industry.
Okay.
It's something to be considered about. Now, let's be honest. We know that Deadpool Wolverine is going to be rated R. There's no way that movie cannot be rated R.
Yeah, because I don't think Ryan Reynolds was going to do it if it wasn't rated R.
That's what I thought. I heard something about that, but I wasn't sure if that was official or not. But yeah. So, look, I'm just speculating, but so we'll see. We will see.
All right, word up.
We'll see, man. But like, look, this has been a great conversation. I just really hope to see what we're gonna do. And like, let's be honest, Marvel released three things as far as a press strategy in 1 week. We have no one. We don't know what else is going to be failures. Whether else they're going to hit about over the course of the year. So
Yeah, because
anyone
I
who's
mean,
just
as
kind of
far
like,
as press strategy, we have D23, we have San Diego, and we have New York
mm-hmm,
Comic Con.
mm-hmm.
And
And
LA Comic Con, I love y'all, but they don't be announcing stuff at y'all spot yet. Even though I love LA Comic Con, shouts out to LA Comic Con. They always let me get a press pass, even when I was little. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, I guess I'm still little, but I mean,
check
I
this
was
out.
littler.
Check this
Yo,
out.
shouts out to, and it was right off the train stop, man. Like, yo, I love, man. I miss LA sometimes. I do be missing y'all, but anyway.
So Comic Con is the same weekend as Deadpool Wolverine.
Ooh. So there's probably going to
So
be a special screening in Hall H, I assume.
or somewhere around San Diego. Movie drops on July 26th. Comic Con is from July 25th and 28th. You cannot say that they're not going to have something ready for
Yeah, there's
Comic-Con.
going to be a huge installation there.
And they'll probably look. I know we weren't going to talk about it, but the big elephant in the room, Kang. We don't know what they're doing with Kang yet. Are they gonna
Yeah,
sideline
they haven't
Kang?
really said yet whether they're going to recast, whether they're
They
going to
haven't
just kind
said
of like
anything.
slide them to the side.
We have no idea.
Because what they
We have
could
no
do
idea.
is, if they wanted to still use the character later, they could kind of like slide him to the side, sort of, and then bring in a new person, and then recast them like 2 years down the line, and then bring Kang back in. You know what I'm saying? So who knows?
Who
So
knows? And I'm not even going to talk about the whole Jonathan Majors part of it.
yeah,
That's a whole other thing that we can talk about for hours. But I'm just saying we don't know what's happening with Kang yet, so there's still a lot to.
and maybe we'll find out in Deadpool or post credit or something like that.
Maybe. Look,
But
the fact I'll say this: the fact that the Marvels had a X-Men post credit scene that no one was expecting. I'm just gonna say there's a lot to look forward to.
yeah,
You know,
we'll see how they hold down that Hall H, which I'm pretty sure they're going to do something, and D23 too as well.
oh yeah, definitely.
But I'll throw it
Definitely.
over to you. What's your final thoughts, and where can people find you?
Final thoughts. Let's be positive. Let's be happy, and let's be happy that we got 3 Marvel announcements in 1 week. I'll be done.
Yeah.
You can find me at Clement Bryant on Instagram and Twitter, and that's it. I have nothing else to say.
That's what's up. I'd like to give a shout out to my contributors. I got some folks like Enrique Carrion, Lim Vidal, Deep House Nation. You know what I'm saying? Support the channel, keep everything going, helping a brother out. Whether you hit the like, whether you comment, whether you share it, please share it. It helps out so much, man. You know what I'm saying? Share that stuff. You know, whether you gave 1 penny or all the pennies. Big shout out to all y'all. My final thoughts is the X-Men 97 will really hook me depending on the relationship between Magneto and the team now that he's saying that everything from Xavier has been essentially bequeathed to him. So, with that said, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, podcast, all that jazz. And until the next time that you have to go with the TVA to become one of the heroes among heroes, this is from us to you just saying, peace.
Peace.
You.